Hello, gentle people. I hope you all are doing well. Today, I wanted to talk to you about a book that I've been reading, and it's actually my second go around on this book, and it's called Measure What Matters by John Doerr. Sorry about the light, but the sun is acting funky today. So it's called Measure What Matters by John Doerr, and it's about how Google, Bono, and Gates Foundation and the Gates Foundation rock the world with OKRs. So here's the deal with this book. I saw it in a library about 2 months ago, and I picked it up because I'm a process junkie, right? I'm always interested in process and efficiency and goals and productivity and all that good stuff. So I was like, and I've been smitten with Google for as long as I can remember. So I was like, okay, something that's going to explain more about the inner workings of Google and how they're so efficient and productive. So I picked up the book a couple months ago, got through like the introduction and a part of the first chapter, and I had to bring it back because it wasn't done. I wasn't done, and it was it was in the new book section, and I had to bring it back by a certain time. So last week I'm in the library again and I see it. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna pick it up again and check it out again. And 2 weeks ago, I was a tech instructor. I was volunteering at a Black Girls Code event. It was a robotics event, and it was held at this tech hire center down in Miami. So I had to sign up for their mailing list when I volunteered, and then last week I got an email saying, oh, they're having an OKR workshop coming up, and I was like, what? I'm already in the book. I'm in there like swimwear. So I literally just got back from the workshop a while ago. Just pulled up the car in the driveway and came inside to do this video because I'm so stoked about OKRs. And here's the even cooler thing. The woman that led the workshop, she used to work at Google for like many years. So she's like an OKR like expert, right? So I have some notes here in my book. So bear with me because I'm going to be looking down at my notes while I'm talking to you and telling you about why I think this book is so super important. And it's not just from a business perspective, but from a personal perspective as well, because I'm one of those people that I take these productivity and goal setting and efficiency systems that work in business and try to apply it to my own life. So we have an agile system in this house, like Kanban board, the whole 9 yards, and we're not building a tech company in here. It is just to help my kid to be more efficient and help myself to be more efficient. So anyway, let me get to Measure What Matters by John Doerr, and we're talking about OKRs. So OKRs are objectives and key results, and they're described in the book as a simple process that drives varied organizations. They're forward thinking, they're adaptable, they give visibility to an organization, and they're also a productive way to kind of push back. And Google was introduced to OKRs when they first started out by John Doerr, and the process, the methodology comes from a man called Andy Grove, who was pivotal in getting Intel to become like the microprocessor microchip company, right? So John Doerr learned it from Andy Grove at Intel, and he brought it to Google when he decided to invest in Google. So one of the things that he says is that ideas are easy and execution is what is everything. Execution is the most difficult part, and what OKRs do is help you to break down what your objectives are and what are the things that you need to do to meet those particular objectives, right? So their OKRs are collaborative, they're goal setting protocol for companies, teams, and individuals. And what it does is ensure that everybody on the team is working towards the same objective, and it gives you a bit of autonomy in that if you know what the main outcome is, if you know what the main objective is, then you can kind of say, how does my team fit into meeting these objectives? How do my individual efforts fit into meeting these objectives? And people don't like to be told what to do, right? But if you know what the objectives for the team are, if you know what the the mission for the company is, or the objectives for the company is or are, then you kind of know what you need to do on your team or individually to move towards that. So the thing with OKRs is, one, the objective piece of it is just basically what is to be achieved, nothing more, nothing less. That's the what. And it has to be significant, it has to be concrete, it has to be action oriented, and ideally it should be inspirational. And then the key results are a benchmark, and they monitor how we work towards those specific objectives. So they have to be specific, they have to be time bound, aggressive yet realistic, measurable and verifiable. And the thing with these clearly defined goals is that they're written down and they're shared freely. So even within Google, from Sundar straight down to, whoever is the last person at the company, pretty much everybody lays out what their OKRs are. So it's transparency, right? Everybody's on the same page. You can look at something that you're doing and you're like, oh, this is not exactly going towards the main objective or the main priority, so I need to reassess and readjust how I deal with that. And what it does is it links the goals to whatever your company's broader mission is, and it helps to celebrate wins. So a big part of it is that you're responsible for your own failures and your own wins, right? Because since you have more autonomy, then the decisions that you're making in terms of how am I going to work towards this particular outcome is very much dependent on the things that you're doing. And some of the companies that use OKRs are Dropbox, LinkedIn, Oracle, Twitter, Spotify, Slack, and it's not just for tech companies. In the book it talks about Anheuser-Busch, BMW, Disney, Samsung are some of the other companies outside of tech that use OKRs. And here is why I thought it was so important to learn. The founders of Google, right, Sergey and Larry, they'll tell you that, okay, I'm here saying they'll tell you like I know them personally, whatever, I don't, but just from reading about it, they say how OKRs are the things that have allowed Google to be as productive and as efficient and to scale to the level that they are at this particular point in time. So OKRs were instrumental in building the company, and they're still very much a part of, day-to-day business at Google. And the cool thing about it is, you can adjust them, right? It's not like this thing that never changes. As time goes by, you can make whatever adjustments, and it sounds really simple. Okay, here are my objectives and here are my key results. But what I realized in the workshop today, it's simple, but it's hard, right? If that makes sense. So you kind of have to drill down into what your objectives are. And, like I said, the objectives need to have some kind of inspirational quality to them. So it's like a stretch goal, right? Something that you're working towards. And the way you kind of define it is, this thing, I don't know how I'm going to do it, but it lies within the realm of possibility. So I have to figure out a way to get it done. That's me. That's like my whole MO in this life thing, right? I have these big goals and I'm like, I have no idea how I'm gonna get this shit done, but trust, I will figure out a way to make it happen, right? And there's a quote by Andy Grove in the book. He says there's so many people working so hard and achieving so little. And I think of it in terms of working in education. Like when I was teaching, if this was a system that was in place within education, it would make sense, because everybody, in terms of administration, in terms of faculty, in terms of students, there would be a level of transparency, so everybody knows what the outcomes are and everybody knows what the objectives are. Everybody knows these are the key results that we need to work towards. And when I think about it, I love teaching, and one of the things that used to drive me absolutely batshit crazy is that it was just so inefficient. The systems were so inefficient. A lot of it was, oh, this is the way that we've done things forever, and this is the way we're going to continue doing things. And I'm like, yeah, but if you look at it from this perspective, and I know a lot of people don't like to think of education from like a business perspective, but like in the back of my head I used to be like, some of these things that happen, some of these methodologies in business, like if you pull it into the education arena, it would make things so much more efficient and you could achieve a lot more. And when people have transparency and people have autonomy, like it makes you want to do your job, and there wouldn't be such a big turnover in education. Let me see. Oh, so one of the things that the lady talked about in the workshop today is when you're thinking of your objectives, it sounds like you're being flippant, but one of the questions is who cares? Like, who cares about what this particular outcome and is, and how does it provide clear value to whether it's users or the people in the company or the stakeholders? So who cares? And when you're breaking that down, think of how does it provide value. And let me see, your key results are going to be in alignment with whatever those particular values are. And I know you're probably thinking, let me give you an example, right? So somebody in the workshop, her objective was to be fluent in French, right? So that is her outcome, be fluent in French. Something that's inspirational, it's a little bit aspirational as well. So underneath learn to be fluent in French, then what are the key results that you need to do? All right, you need to learn like say 50 phrases, like 50 introductory phrases to language, and I will know how to pronounce X amount of words by such and such a time, and I will pass a test on fluency. So you can see how those key results tie into the particular objective of learning to be fluent in French. And another example that comes from that the lady in the workshop used, that she kind of pulled from Grit, which is this book by Angela Duckworth. If you have not read it, what you waiting on? Grit is like 1,000,000 years old and it's really good. So if you think of like a spelling bee, right? In that book, she kind of breaks down the kids who are successful in the spelling bee. These are the key results that they have towards their main objective, which is winning the spelling bee. So they have to know a certain amount of words by a particular time, like learn 300 new words, spell X amount of words correctly. And again, it sounds so simple, but even when I think of it from my own perspective, it kind of forced me to drill down a little bit deeper into what my particular objectives are. And here's the thing that I know I'm going to have to do. I am going to have personal OKRs and professional OKRs, and I have some like super exciting news. I don't want to bust it yet though, so stay tuned. I'm gonna tell you guys about it very soon, but the next couple months of my life are going to be very intense because of this exciting news, but intense in a good way. And a part of that is going to require me to come up with some personal as well as business OKRs. So I hope I kind of explained that in a little way to make you understand. But even if I didn't, here is the book. It's called Measure What Matters by John Doerr. And let me give you a resource that the lady told us about in the workshop. The resource is rework.withgoogle.com. So that's rework.withgoogle.com. I'll put it in the box below. And there's a Google engineer that kind of goes into depth in a presentation on OKRs. So between the book and between that website, and I probably didn't do a very good job of explaining, but I'm just really excited about this process. And yeah, so that's it, OKRs. And if you have any questions, drop them in the box below and I will talk to you soon. If you made it all the way to your end, thank you for your time, your presence, your energy. I appreciate you because you're my peeps, right? Peace.